Number 11. Cod, the gentle introduction. 100 grams of cooked cod carries about 23 grams of protein with almost no fat at all, and it delivers a full day's worth of vitamin B12 in a single fillet. It is the fish that built economies, dried and salted so it could cross oceans, and entire wars have been fought over access to cod grounds. It is also the mildest common fish there is. If you have never really cooked fish, if the smell or the bones or the uncertainty have kept you away, cod is where to start. It is mild, it flakes cleanly, it has no small bones to speak of, and it is almost impossible to identify as fishy once it is cooked with lemon and butter. Fish intake drops sharply with age in most surveys, and unfamiliarity rather than dislike is usually the reason. Vitamin B12 matters more after 60 than at any earlier point in life because stomach acid production falls with age, and B12 requires acid to be released from food. Low B12 shows up as fatigue, pins and needles, poor balance and memory problems, and it is one of the most commonly missed deficiencies in older adults. A single portion of cod covers the daily requirement comfortably. Bake it at 200 degrees in parchment with lemon, olive oil, and dill for 12 minutes, and it is essentially impossible to ruin. Frozen cod fillets cost about $6 a pound and are frozen at sea, which often makes them fresher than the fresh counter. The next one comes in a tin, costs a fraction as much, and most kitchens already have one. Number 13. Shrimp, the lean luxury. 100 grams of cooked shrimp carries about 24 grams of protein with barely any fat and very few calories, along with selenium, iodine, and vitamin B12. They cook in about 2 minutes from raw, which is faster than almost any other protein on Earth. Frozen bags have made what was once a coastal luxury available anywhere at a reasonable price. If heavy meals sit badly in the evening and you wake up uncomfortable, shrimp is protein without the weight. 24 grams that digests easily and does not lie on your stomach at midnight is genuinely valuable because poor sleep and heavy late meals are closely linked. It also feels like an occasion, which does more for a flagging appetite than any nutrition label. Shrimp were avoided for decades because they are high in dietary cholesterol, and that advice has since been substantially revised because dietary cholesterol turns out to have far less effect on blood cholesterol than saturated fat does for most people. They are also a good source of iodine, which your thyroid requires, and which is genuinely scarce in most modern diets. Anyone with a shellfish allergy must obviously avoid them entirely. Cook them in a hot pan with garlic and olive oil for 90 seconds aside, and stop the moment they curl into a C shape, because a tight O means overcooked and rubbery. Frozen raw shrimp cost about $9 a pound and thaw in cold water in 10 minutes. The next one is a freshwater fish with more omega-3 than most people realize, and none of the mercury worry. Number 14. Rainbow trout, the clean swap. 100 grams carries about 21 grams of protein along with a genuinely useful dose of omega-3 fats and vitamin D. Because trout are farmed in freshwater and are short-lived, they accumulate very little mercury, which puts them on almost every health agency's list of best choices. They are one of the few farmed fish that environmental groups also rate well. If you have been told to eat more fish but are wary of mercury, this is the fish that removes the dilemma entirely. You get the omega-3 benefit without the contaminant concern, and you do not have to ration it the way you would tuna. For anyone trying to follow the standard advice of 2 portions of fish a week, trout makes that simple rather than complicated. The long-chain omega-3 fats in oily fish, EPA and DHA, are structurally different from the plant omega-3 in seeds, and your body converts the plant form into these very inefficiently. Large reviews of oily fish consumption have consistently found associations with better cardiovascular outcomes, and the evidence is stronger for whole fish than for supplement capsules. Trout also carries vitamin D, which almost everyone in a northern country is short of by February. Roast a whole trout at 200 degrees for 20 minutes with lemon and thyme inside it, and the flesh lifts cleanly off the bone in 2 large fillets. Whole trout run about $7 a pound and are cheaper than fillets. Ask the fishmonger to gut it and you have nothing left to do. The next one is smaller, oilier, and Northern Europe has been smoking and pickling it for 1,000 years. Number 15. Herring, the northern staple. 100 grams carries about 18 grams of protein and one of the highest vitamin D contents of any food, along with a very large dose of omega-3. Herring shoals fed and enriched Northern Europe for centuries, salted and smoked and pickled in every conceivable way, and the Hanseatic League built much of its wealth on the trade. It is now one of the most overlooked fish in the shop. If you spend most of the winter indoors, as most people over 60 in northern countries do, vitamin D is the single most likely thing you are short of. Your skin makes far less of it with age, and from October to March at northern latitudes, the sun is too low to make any at all. Herring is one of the very few foods that supplies it in a meaningful amount, rather than a token one. Vitamin D governs how well you absorb calcium, and low levels are consistently associated with reduced bone density, muscle weakness, and increased fall risk in older adults. Trials of vitamin D on falls have been genuinely mixed, which is why the honest statement is that adequacy matters rather than that supplements fix everything. Food sources are limited enough that oily fish does real work here. Buy it pickled in jars from the chilled section, or smoked as kippers, and eat it with rye bread and soured cream in the Scandinavian way. A jar costs about $4 and keeps for weeks unopened. If the sharp pickle is too much, look for the ones in a milder cream sauce. The next one is even smaller, even saltier, and it will change how you cook everything else. Number 18. Mussels, the cheapest seafood, and this is the one I promised you at the start. 100 grams of cooked mussels carries about 24 grams of protein and an astonishing amount of vitamin B12, several times your entire daily requirement in one modest serving, more than any other food on Earth. They also deliver more iron than red meat, gram for gram. They are farmed on ropes, need no feeding at all, and are among the most sustainable animal foods there is. If you are tired in a way that sleep does not fix, if you feel the cold more than everyone around you, or if your balance has become less certain, both iron and B12 are worth testing for. Absorption of both falls with age because your stomach makes less acid, so the amount in the food has to be generous to compensate. Very few foods deliver both together in these quantities. B12 deficiency in older adults is common, frequently missed, and genuinely serious because prolonged low levels can cause nerve damage that does not fully reverse even after treatment. It shows up as fatigue, tingling in the hands and feet, unsteadiness and memory changes, and it is often mistaken for ordinary aging. Mussels also carry selenium, zinc, and manganese in the same mouthful. Steam them in a covered pot with garlic, wine, and parsley for 4 minutes until they open, and throw away any that stay firmly shut. A kilo costs about $5 and feeds 2 generously, which makes this the best value protein in this entire video. Buy them alive and cook them the same day. The next one is the tin I opened this video with, and there is one detail about it that changes everything.